Major General Rajiv Narayanan is joining us. He needs no introduction. Sir, thank you for speaking to Times Now. You know, we are having this conversation at a time when the world is talking about Operation Sindoor. Many global commentators have also weighed in, said and written about what they feel has happened in Operation Sindoor. I want to begin by asking you the fundamental question. What is your takeaway from Operation Sindoor? What has India done?
At this crucial time, because the key takeaway is India has announced itself at the world stage, and the world has stood up and taken notice of. America in Gulf War I, with hardly any opposition, took 40 days of shock and awe. India, if I may say so, some people will say it took 4 days. For me, it was those 3 hours and essentially those 25 minutes of the air attack which proved decisive. And that was the shock and awe which ultimately Pakistan had to beg for ceasefire, though we have not given them the ceasefire. Number two, Atmanirbhar Bharat has come of age. Bulk of the systems that were managed and utilized were designed, developed, everything made in India. And the third, of which we have been speaking for so long, integrated warfare. So I think it's just a matter of time when the integrated commands or the headquarters come into place. Because the manner in which this was conducted, an integrated effort of Army, Navy, Air Force, world over they were saying that the Indian Army, armed forces to be precise, excellent fighters, but they are far behind in technology. You just proved to them how good you are. There were people who claimed China was ahead of you. You showed what duds the Chinese equipment are. And we should not forget there were some modern air defense radars of the Americans also, which have been put to rest. That is what I see as the key takeaways from here.
Sir, you know, you've said that our 5-day response to Pakistan has ensured that, a new military superpower has risen.
Not a superpower, a military power in Asia, which is not China.
That's interesting. And why are you saying it? What changed in Operation Sindoor that you've, come to this conclusion?
Okay. It slightly predates this. When the Gaza war started in 23, late 23, the Houthis started attacking the Red Sea. And the Somali pirates started attacking the ships. India did not join the Americans when they called for. They created their own task force against the Somali pirates. We already had 2 in the Aden task force for the anti-piracy, those 2 and 10 more. I don't say so. American papers have said that the Somali pirates have been stopped by the Indian Navy. And that in the Indian Ocean, it is Indian Navy's writ that runs. As of 2025, close to 300 to 400 ships they have boarded. And the Somalis, moment they see the Marcos there, they drop the weapons and just put their hands up and kneel down. And that the Americans, for all their strength, or the Chinese or the others, have done nothing other than fire some rockets at the Houthis. So that was where the Indian Navy proved its worth. And here, the armed forces, Army and the Air Force in the lead along with the Army, showed in these 5 days what you can do, which has shocked the world. They tried to say that, no, you have lost a lot of aircrafts, you have done this, you have done that. Of late, the mouthpieces of the Chinese, New York Times and WAPO themselves, as of today, they are accepting that it is the Pakis who have had the maximum damage. As they say in Hindi, सच्चाई छुपाने से छुप नहीं सकती. See, even in New York Times, they've given slightly that yes, you have done better. For our strikes, they have given the satellite imagery that we have given. The claimed strikes of Pakistanis,
You're
there are no
right.
such.
You're right. Sachai chupane se chup nahi sakti. And, not that we need any validation from the New York Times or Washington Post or the others, but you're right when you say that, we presented proof of what we did even
Yes,
before proof was demanded. We just put
correct.
the proof out and said, look, this is what we've done. Sir, a lot of people are cagey about, and I know why they are, not saying it out. But how would you address the nuclear question?
Okay.
People have been saying that, the nuclear bluff of Pakistan has been called because we hit one of the hills, the Kirana Hills, that houses, whatever is said about it.
In fact, I was the first one globally to break it. I'll share it with you.
Yes.
You have hit both Kirana and Sacchai hills. Now, people say that no, his warheads would be dispersed. Yes, Pakistan doesn't have a second strike capability, and he doesn't have a no first use. So there are 5 locations, garrisons where they have the missiles, nuclear capable missiles: Gujranwala, Sargodha, Pano, Akil, Khuzar, and Arko. And they have 4 where they have their nuclear capable air assets, that is Mirage 3-5 and JF-17, and of course F-16 if the Americans permit them, which is Kamra, Rafiki, Jacobabad, and Masroor. While you may keep this, you also keep a strategic reserve. And these are kept in the Kirana Hills near Sargodha and the Sacchai Hills near Jacobabad, which they also call Shahbaz. Sacchai Hills is also the nuclear test site. On the night of 9th, 10th, they have shown photographs of getting hit, and they have shown the videos of the villagers saying that Kirana hit ho gaya. Kirana has about 5-6 entrances. They have tunneled, and underground they have created a maze of tunnels where they store these warheads, which is the strategic reserve. Similar in Sacchai. It is not at the ground level, it is underground. The best way to block removal of anything which is based underground is to target the tunnel, the entrances, and the exit way. So when you hit it with a powerful enough weapon system, the hillside caves in there and blocks the entrance. So you need an effort to clear that. And when they are doing the effort to clear that, you hit it again. So you're not, when India says we have not targeted the nuclear weapons, you're right, you're not targeted that. You targeted the entrance and exit way. But there would have been, because of the shock, some radiation, or what we call the radiological cook-off. It is not a nuclear explosion. The critical mass is not there. The 2 separate mass would have happened. Some radiological explosion, like we call a dirty bomb, has taken place. First was Sacchai Hills. You had the seismic sensor registering 5.7 on the Richter scale. Normally, when you do a nuclear test, how does the world over get to know that you have done a nuclear test? The vibrations go through the ground, the seismic sensors pick it up, and they show it to you as if it's an earthquake. It's not an earthquake. 5.7 in Sacchai, 4.4 in Kirana. In fact, Kirana later in the day, again there was a 4 Richter scale earthquake detected by the seismic sensors. Now you realize why the Americans have rushed there, the Chinese have rushed there, and off late the Britishers have rushed there. There are reports of a boron having been brought in by the Egyptair. Boron is used for radiation leak. The biggest radiation leak are neutrons. Boron absorbs the neutrons. So when you impregnate polyurethane or polycarbonate with boron, you can have a shield. In case there is a greater radiation leak of alpha, beta, or gamma, then you need lead. Of late, they're using only boron. But what happens is that set of tunnel entrances which were there. Now, whether the complete one has gone off, I would feel if two explosions, minor, you can say the radiological bomb, dirty bomb explosions have taken place, that means the Kirana hillside has gone out of equation. Sacchai 5.7, I'm sure Sacchai is also got out of equation. Out of the others, land-based, you have hit Gujranwala, Sargodha to tell you that I know you are there, I can hit you. And air-based, you have hit Shahbaz, Rafiki, and Masroor. It tells them that, look, I know where you are, I can hit you. And Noor Khan is their nuclear command authority operational center. You destroyed that. No wonder the Prime Minister has openly said nuclear threat won't work. So now he is running around trying to do what to do.
So when sir, when you do something like this that you've described in great detail, and I was listening to it with rapt attention, and I'm sure our viewers, have similar things to say. When you do such an operation, when you strike, the enemy and inflict such a punishment, what is the message you're sending out?
The message you are sending out is you can't hide anywhere. And that is your regional satellite navigation system, IRNSS, Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System, on which Navik is based, on which ISR is based. You go wherever I can see you. Even as we speak today, there are 10 satellites above Pakistan. Length and breadth of Pakistan, it is watching and giving you real-time feed. Work on this has been going on for quite some time, and it has now come to fruition. So I feel happy. At the start, I was there, and it's nice to see how it is being shown to the world, and it is AI enabled. When I was in service, AI was just spoken of. We didn't even know what AI was. Today, everything is AI enabled. And that is the difference, where suddenly people realize, who felt that our drones, anti-drone systems, AI, we were way behind. We have used our drones, homegrown drones. We have used homegrown anti-drone system. We have used kinetic and non-kinetic means. In kinetic means, we have the DRDO laser-based systems. That is the shock that people have today, that you have shown how effective the system is. And mind you, it may be Pakistan, but proxy, you are fighting the Chinese. The complete system there, the grid there was Chinese grid. And you proved it to them, it is a dud.
I was coming to that question, the big China question. People say that it's the elephant in the room. So when you've, decimated the Pakistani military infrastructure and their operational capability, you've in effect, destroyed the Chinese toys that were given to them.
Correct. So you have put a big question mark in China's head about their own capabilities that they spoke so much about. Bulk of their air defense grid and network is based on HQ-9 and HQ-16, which they had given to the Pakis. Yes, they gave them the Pakistani version, which is 145 kilometers. There themselves, they claim it is 300 to 400 kilometers. But the radars are the same. You have been able to jam and then destroy the radars. Not just destroy the radars, you jammed them, which they have not been able to do. And ours is all homegrown. Rohini, Revati, Indra, Rajendra, they could do nothing. No, that is a telling punch as far as the Chinese are concerned. And as far as the West is concerned, because there were quite a few American radars, state-of-art radars also in this grid, which you have jammed and destroyed. So, and you have told to the world that you may not come and help me, I can do it myself. See, there were only two systems which you can, two countries. One is S-400 of the Russians, and the Israelis gave you Harop and Sky Searcher, which is there, and your MR-SAM, which is a version of Barak 8. Everything else is yours. Now, these you have integrated in a layered air defense system. I love the way the DGMO made a mention of cricket in that Ashes series of 74, where Lilly and Thompson had destroyed the English batting. And he made that quote which came in, I think, Sydney Herald: ashes to ashes, dust to dust. If Thermo doesn't get you, Lilly must. So here you had multiple layers. If one doesn't get you, somebody else somewhere down the line will get you. You won't reach the objective. Now they say that they were explosions. Yes, in any air defense system, you identify whether that threat is coming to hit your VA or VP, that is vital area or a vital position. Vital area will also be a civilian area. If it is going into an open field where it explodes, like one or two shots had shown in Punjab of a huge crater in the field, you're not going to waste even a bullet on that drone because there's no life being lost. It's going into an open field means nothing. What is more important, that the protected VA and VP should not be affected, and that is what you were successful with. And they were carbon copying. You brought in your three DGMOs, then next day they brought the three DGMOs. Our PM went to Adhampur, which they said was destroyed, S-400 destroyed, and there he landed in the airfield and spoke in front of the S-400 series and for the world to see. So then they wanted to take their PM, and they went into a field.
Yeah, it looks more like a junkyard. That tank, I don't know what the mate
field,
of the...
some camouflage net, and under which some talk is going on. People are sitting in front. Whereas here was the PM interacting with the unit, talking to the people out there in a group. He's not sitting in a chair and somebody is presenting to him. He's going around talking to the people. Whereas you find these people were sitting in the chair, some briefing going on, camouflage net, some field, some place they are sitting, you don't even know. So this is something which has happened, which the Chinese will be worried, Americans will be worried. You see, there is a shift in the global order in the sense that you have come up and you will demand your space. Now that space will be at the expense of somebody and they are not going to like it.
True. Sir, you know, for the layman who's watching this broadcast or, you know, is consuming this, the commentary around Operation Sindoor, and when people say, look, Pakistan ko to humne sabak sikha diya, but is India mazboot enough if, you know, something goes wrong with China? When such a question is asked or, you know, such a sentiment is heard, what would you tell them, or how would you respond to it?
Okay, 2-3 things. Who pulled back from Eastern Ladakh? The Chinese. Did you offer them anything in return? No. Is he in a position to attack you? I don't think so. I'll tell you why. He has equivalent of 13 corps. Western theatre has 2, Southern theatre has 2, Eastern, Northern and Central theatre have 3 each. 3, 3, 6, 3, 9 and 4, 13. These are the group armies that he has. Bulk of the group armies of East, all the group armies of Southern and Eastern, and one group army from the North, because he can't take out both. He's worried about Russia. So the Northern theatre looks after Russia. They're all deployed on the Eastern seaboard for the Taiwan, to put pressure on Taiwan. Apart from the one which is near Beijing, the other 2 are also deployed towards Taiwan. The one in Beijing is the one which provides protection to Zhongnanhai, where the CPC leadership lives in Beijing. That can't be pulled out. When you look at Western theatre, Tibet had 3 brigades deployed, Xinjiang had 4 divisions, 2 deployed, 2 can't be deployed because they run the education camps for the Uyghurs. All deployed. Now the Western Theatre has 2 corps, 1 corps already deployed, is left with 1 corps. What can he do with 1 corps? Now he's more worried today because what you have done to Pakistan, out of the 4 strike corps that we have, I don't need more than 1. I can launch 3 strike corps, if not 2, across into China and hurt him. That is why reports are coming that in Tibet, he has now created multiple lines of defense within Tibet. But because the terrorists have been hurt very badly, I don't call Pakistan and all these terrorists as non-state actors. This Operation Sindoor has proved that they are state actors.
And you're
Their
right,
reports-
because the government also is now on board with this idea
On
that,
board.
enough of this differentiation.
There is no differentiation. You see how the state funeral was given to the terrorists. A proscribed terrorist is reading out the janaza prayers, and senior up to the rank of Lieutenant General and senior Pakistani officers are standing there behind him. Rauf is leading it, who's a proscribed Islamic terrorist proscribed by the UN. Americans are not doing anything. I'm not surprised. Trump has gone and shaken hands with Al-Julani, who's a proscribed terrorist, as far as the UN is concerned. Okay. Then I'm told that yesterday the Prime Minister has announced 14 crores to Masood Azhar for the 14 people who have died. 1 crore per death, he's saying. That's how they're going to use the IMF money. 10 people of his family and 4 of his students who died, 14 crore. So Pakistan is more of a terror state of Pakistan, or you can call it a terroristan. It is terror state, nothing else. China is going to use him for trying to do something kinetic in India.
Right.
Whether from across the border or using their sleeper cells within India. And that is what you have to be prepared for, and could be a ground offensive also, as they say in Hindi, "Doobte ko tinke ka sahara."
Sir, I want you to tell us about what you've gathered happened at Muridke and in Bahawalpur. And the reason I'm asking you this is because our group editor-in-chief, Navika Kumar, is in the know of, through top sources in the government, as credible as it gets, that only a wall separated Masood Azhar from meeting the fate that his family members suffered. He was in the adjacent building, and he just, or maybe he survived to tell the tale. What have you gathered about these 2 locations, sir, the Lashkar and Jaish nerve centers?
The Lashkar and Jaish nerve centers is just across the border of a military headquarters. Just the road separates the military headquarters. Bahawalpur is a core headquarters. Just the road separates the 2. Similar case in Muridke. There is an army headquarters just across the road. Just the road separates the 2. Exactly like Osama bin Laden was 800 meters from their military headquarters in Abbottabad. They are hand in glove. You take DG ISPR. He's the son of a proscribed terrorist, Al-Qaeda terrorist, who tried to sell nuclear secrets to Osama bin Laden. He's the DG ISPR. Can you think about that? The day Asim Munir sanctioned the Pahalgam strike, in the morning, they had created some crypto council and signed an agreement with an American company which is run by a relative of Donald Trump. And in the evening, he has sanctioned Pahalgam. Now, what to talk of IMF? When the war is on, they have sanctioned the money to Pakistan.
It's a joke. IMF has, blood on its hands. There's no other way of saying it.
I would stick my neck out and say that it's all a question of the money. As they say, paisa bolta hai. There are no free lunches. And so I don't know how much kickback who all are taking and how much people are taking. We all know that the money which comes to Pakistan, a whole lot of the cream is taken away by the elite to feather their nests abroad. So same is the case, the others must also be doing. Otherwise, when you know that proscribed militants are terrorists are staying within Pakistan, what is the basis of giving them money? You know that they loot that money, it doesn't go down to the people. If despite that and knowing that you're doing it, then you're doing it willingly.
Sir, what do you make of what Turkey has done? And there's a lot of chorus to boycott Turkey, that we must now at least wake up to the reality. Were you surprised?
I am not surprised. I was doing the staff course in Bangladesh after our own Defense Services Staff College course in Wellington. And there was a Turkish delegation which had visited, and we were having our dinner together. So I asked the Turkish officer. So he said, yes, we are good friends with India, but when it comes to war, they are our Muslim brothers, we'll always stand with Pakistan. And I'm talking of the year 93, 94. I'm not surprised. And under Erdogan, they have gone totally the hardline way. Erdogan is a card-carrying Muslim Brotherhood member. I'm not totally surprised. Nor even Azerbaijan has said that they are Muslims, so we are siding with them. What surprises me most is Israel siding Azerbaijan in the Armenia-Azerbaijan war. That is what surprised me. I didn't expect Israelis to do that. But be that as it may, now we should start talking about and writing about and making films about the Armenian genocide by the Ottomans. That is a sore point that they have.
Sir, what has this war, conflict, or for lack of a better word, Operation Sindoor taught us? One thing that I can tell you is that, on the face of it, is that, look, India has to, look after its own interest. No one is coming to our help. No one when it matters. Because like you said, everything is a transactional relationship.
There are only two countries whom you can trust that they will stand by you and they'll help you. One is Russia, the other is Israel. Rest, transactional, they won't come and help you at all. So you have to make sure that your Atmanirbharta, Atmanirbhar Bharat carries on and you start developing your things. It's nice. What I'm doing here in IIT Madras, we used to dream of that this is how we should go about doing it. So you find that technical institutes, not just IIT Madras, the whole lot of IITs, whole lot of technical institutes have jumped up and offered themselves to the defense, to ISRO, to everybody to help them. And it's a wonderful thing to see that you're tapping the resource. It is not as if you didn't have the technology. You have. And it's really nice to see the manner in which this is being tapped at every level. Look at the number of cities that have come up. Bangalore has shown up. You knew that it was an IT hub. Sky Searcher, the anti-drone system, which jams it, laser, everything has come from Bangalore. So you're right. In this battle, you are alone. You are alone. But any help that you need on systems and weapons will be forthcoming only from Israel and Russia, nobody else. Israel stood by you. I fought in the Kargil war. Israel stood by you. You needed ammunition, they gave you. You needed to convert your dumb bombs into precision, they gave you the spike. Nobody else is going to give you. They will stand by and just say, yes, 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 we are with you. That's it. लड़ाई हमने लड़नी है.
लड़ाई
we
हमने
shared
लड़नी
it.
है, sir. When you say that, how do you then reconcile with our geography? You have Bangladesh now, under Muhammad Yunus has, or under the influence of, I don't know, Xi Jinping, what have you, turned rogue. You have an already rogue Pakistan on the other side, and then you have China.
Okay. So I'll take it one by one. I've been to Bangladesh. They are no threat. Their threat is the hybrid one. As far as their armed forces are concerned, there are no threat. Even the BSF will give them a tight slap. They'll go back to the barracks. The threat is from the jihadis which come from there, cross border. That is the threat. Take Pakistan. I had mentioned it earlier in my other talks on YouTube also. When was it that he actually started full-fledged terrorism? Not Khalistan movement. Khalistan movement was to cut your link to Kashmir. The terrorism in Kashmir started in 89. Why? 88 is when he had his first nuclear warhead. See, you have three levels. You have subconventional, conventional, and then you go to nuclear. He knew by the 80s that he could never compete with you at the conventional level. So his aim was to reduce the window of conventional level. So nuclear saber rattling. In keep pushing the envelope of subconventional, that is terrorism. And when you try to go conventional, do nuclear saber rattling. So first time the bluff was called was within our own territory in the Kargil war. This time also, if you see, they had their statements that we have not kept it for display. In the chief minister and the defense minister saying that if we don't survive, nobody in the world will survive. That was nuclear saber rattling. These hits that you have done have shaken them to the core. That the nuclear saber rattling era is over. If they try it, they will be pinpoint accurate hitting. It is less than 1 meter. The accuracy that you have shown is less than 1 meter. Less than 1 meter means you will hit the missile launcher, you will hit even a tank. And that is the fear that they have, that is the level of accuracy, which in a, not directly, but indirectly, even the New York Times and WAPO have accepted, and even now Reuters has accepted. The way you have hit those garages and those infrastructure in the airbase pinpoint, the way you have hit the terrorist training camps pinpoint with no collateral damage. That is what has scared the world, that what you have, which a lot of countries don't have. If we have time, I will explain how this accuracy comes about.
Please do, sir. Please do.
Okay. See, the globe is 3D. So when you open it up into an atlas 2D, there are errors. Classic error. If you look at an atlas, look at the size of Greenland and look at the size of Africa. It will appear to you in an atlas, it is almost the same. But when you go to the globe, Greenland is very small. Okay, so when you open it up, there are various methods of cartography. I won't go into the technical details, but errors come in. As you move across longitudes, the errors start coming in. Now the GPS has, any system that you make, you take a datum and you make it. I'm sure the American GPS would have had a datum in US. Even if he says it is from the Greenwich Mean Time datum, look at the amount of errors that it will have. So he goes for a 10 to 20 meter error when he comes here in the military means. Our IRNSS is localized. The first phase is in the Indo-Pacific. It covers the entire Indo-Pacific. and gives you less than 1 meter accuracy. The whole of Asia, it gives you less than 20 meters accuracy. And in the Indo-Pacific, there is no system which can equate this. Because based on this, you have done your complete mapping and grid system. So moment you have made the complete mapping of the Indo-Pacific and the grid system, now there is accuracy. And when there is accuracy, it won't be 100% that nothing can hit exactly at the same place where you aim at. Less than 1 meter
Tells you a lot.
tells you a lot. And that is what scares the people. And now people are going to jump more for the BrahMos, because this is the kind of accuracy BrahMos is going to give you. You see, you hit 1 meter on a ship or 1 meter on a big military target is nothing. And look at the ship. The Chinese would be worried. Philippines has it. Vietnam has shown interest. Indonesia wants it. People will start wanting to buy that. And I'm sure South Koreans and Japanese will also jump for it.
You know, sir, while we are talking about the kind of punishment we've inflicted on Pakistan, should we be prepared for, you know, a blowback, a knee-jerk reaction? You know, you were talking about the hybrid ways, the proxy war that, you know, these people have been indulging in.
See, I have always spoken about this as a one front, not a 0.5 front. See, 0.5 are the sleeper cells who are here, and the other 0.5 are those who have sold off to them. So you have radical sleeper cells inside, which is a 0.5 front, and the other 0.5 front are you talk for them, taken money from them, speak for them. So when you combine both these, it becomes one front. And yes, there will be a knee-jerk reaction. Why? I didn't mention it. The complete communication grid and ISR was being provided by Bedu. They had earth stations. You have destroyed those also. The entire strategic communication link and operational communication link and ISR link has been destroyed. So at a strategic level, the destruction is so much, it will take him almost a decade or more to get it back in place. The fact that you are able to jam the earth station and destroy it is going to worry the Chinese. He has to go back to his drawing board to relook what he wanted to do against Taiwan and what he wanted to do against you. Because there is a paper issued by their Academy of Sciences of the 6 wars in the 21st century that the Chinese have to fight. And the first one is Taiwan. You are at number 3. So between 2040, 45, I would say between 2040 and 50 is supposed to be your turn. By now, he should have been fighting the Taiwanese. Then he should have been taking over all those islands and conquering them. So that way he has given out the 6 wars. You are there, Mongolia is there, the Senkaku Islands are there. So when you look at these battles, he is nowhere near attacking even Taiwan, which is his P1. There were reports I read wherein he was trying to do a deal with the Americans that if Taiwanese join up with them on their own politically, then there's no need to fight and other things. But Taiwan is not going to join them. In fact, on the other hand, Taiwan wants to do what Chiang Kai-shek's dream was, to get back mainland under their control. So here I have you can say a googly for the Americans. Monroe Doctrine means Pacific is their backyard. Supposing, hypothetical scenario, the pushback is there against the Communist Party and Xi Jinping today, that makes them a democratic, go down the democracy way, and Taiwan takes over and that becomes ROC. Now the Chinese Navy thanks to the ports of Taiwan, will be in the Pacific. Are you in agreement with that? It was because the French Navy would have come into the Pacific. You twisted Australia's hand and made sure they ditched their submarine orders and AUKUS came into play. Have they thought through this hypothetical situation? That if Taiwan takes over mainland China, then the PLA Navy is in the Pacific.
Yeah, and by asking this, you put the US in a spot. What do they do?
Yeah.
Because they have to make a choice. And
So
how
are
long
they-
before they make that choice?
I wonder if they have thought about it. I'd spoken to a few of my American friends. They had no answer to that. They just brushed this aside. It is hypothetical. I said, yes, it is hypothetical, but could be possible.
Sir, the nuclear question once again, when people like Mr. Spencer, Tom Cooper, they've spoken to Times Now. We were the first to speak to them. When people like, when these people, and I'm counting you, when, people who know what they're talking about say these things, I'm sure despite the propaganda machinery at play and the disinformation which is going on, all of this is disseminated, around the world. So India is sending a powerful message that look, back off. This is not the India of, of the 60s, the 70s.
Yes, you see, how did Pakistan go nuclear? It was supported, and the entire technology, even the scientists were here, it was done by the Chinese. China first gave the missile technology to Pakistan and the nuclear technology to North Korea. Benazir Bhutto, in her biographies, has mentioned that she flew in a military aircraft to North Korea carrying a missile and with the blueprint and all the technology of how to make the missile to North Korea. North Koreans gave them a functional warhead and the complete design technology, which was brought here. The complete technology and making of the nuclear program was done by the Chinese. A.Q. Khan was just a front. He was a B.Tech in metallurgy. Come on. You tell me a B.Tech in metallurgy will design and make a nuclear warhead? He stole the design of centrifuges. They didn't know how to use it. He was the front. Americans knew it. The West knew it. They blinked and looked the other way because they felt that you are close to the Soviet Union, so you are their enemy. So they would permit the Pakistanis to have a nuclear weapon to threaten you, to keep you in place, to counter you. Operation Sindoor and the way you have done the targeting has told the rest of the world, don't even try a nuclear blackmail. Don't even try a nuclear blackmail. We know how to sort it out. So the message gone is loud and clear. Some people say that Asif Munir may go, somebody else will come, he is intelligent, he is mature. Sorry. A mature terrorist or an immature terrorist makes no difference.
Well said, sir. And that brings me to the next question that, there is an ecosystem. You were saying that it is one full front. Half is this and the other half are paid agents, people who
Yes.
speak for Pakistan, etc., etc. How do we tackle that ecosystem here, the OGW network of Pakistan? Because that's a threat.
See, that is what I felt this government over the 10 years plus has done better than what Trump has done. Over the 10 years, you started hitting the foundation. Once you knew that you are hitting the foundation, you have sorted out most of the foundation is when you have been able to be aggressive this time around. And most of these OGWs have come out of the cupboard this time. When initially they tried to put pressure saying you're not attacking, and moment you attack, they said de-escalate, 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 and started talking their language. So I'm sure the Home Minister and the NIA has taken heed of these things, and the matter will be resolved. The first place at the moment to be resolved is within Kashmir, and that is being done.
Right.
One of the terrorists who was involved has been killed. There are 14 on the list, including these four. 6 have been eliminated. Out of those 6, one of them was the perpetrator of Pahalgam. There are, I think, 4 more balance out of the
Yeah,
balance
we
8.
still, you're right about the operation. We're still waiting for details, sir. But be that as it may, I want to take the name of one person, and this has left me curious, puzzled, whatever you want to call it. And that name is Mr. Dullat, A.S. Dullat, our raw chief. Now, here's an individual who talks the language of Pakistan. He said things like, when we had the information about threat to Pervez Musharraf's life, etc., etc., we worked with the ISI, we shared intelligence. How does this work? His task was to ensure that we give a body blow to Pakistan.
There are many like him. What will you say when he sits with his antagonist and writes a book?
You're right.
That tells his intention. And it surprises me that the government of the day then put such a person at the head of your spy chain. How much he would have compromised is anybody's guess.
So hopefully all of that is changing, sir. The mindset is changing, not just in the government, but also on the ground.
Yeah, that is why the desperation levels are high, rising. See, when the desperation levels rise and people start making such statements, then you know that you're going down the right path. I only give the example when I was a youngster and I became in the unit, there is a appointment called the adjutant. He's the principal staff officer. Anything and everything comes on him. And my second in command, retired as the Southern Army commander, General Balli Thakkar, he was the second in command. Then he told me, son, because I asked him, I'm still quite junior. He says, no, when people will cry, I know you're doing your job. So the same analogy I put here. When people get desperate and start crying, that means what you're doing is the right path. And in such a war, haste makes waste. You have to be very careful of the steps that you take so that the other side doesn't get an opportunity to blow it up. So that is why when Air Marshal Bharti was asked about Kirana, his smile said a lot. Not what he spoke. His smile said a lot. And when he says, no, we have not targeted the nuclear warhead, I would say he did a Yudhishthir. Obviously, you didn't target the nuclear warhead. You targeted the entrance to where the nuclear warhead was stored.
Well,
That messaging is very powerful.
you're right.
And the other side has understood it.
I just hope that the understanding stays, sir, because the next time the Pakistanis resort to, and like you said in the beginning, that this is only a pause button that we've hit. This is not the end of Operation Sindoor or the new Modi doctrine, as we call it.
Operation Sindoor is not just entirely Modi doctrine. The entirety of Modi doctrine is a multi-domain warfare, of which Operation Sindoor is one facet. Closing of IWT is also part of a warfare. Ensuring, because the Kharif crop, they have to sow it in this month and next month. Within May, June, they have got to sow it. And the main crops there are your rice And
Right.
the main contributor of his export, cotton. Rice guzzles water, and cotton guzzles water more than rice, and there is no water. Ravi, Satluj, Byas, and Jhelum today are bone dry. And as it is last year, because of misuse of water, they had a reduction in 21% of their crop. It will go further down.
On that note, sir, I'm, because of time constraint, ending this conversation, but it has been an absolute pleasure discussing Operation Sindoor and other facets of, India's military strategy with you. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Thank you for speaking to Times Now.
Thank you. Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much.